Ever wondered how wars impact lives beyond what we see in the news? It's easy to overlook the unseen consequences that ripple out from the heart of conflict. The economic fallout, the psychological scars, the societal shifts, all these are part of the broader narrative of war. And these effects reach far beyond the battlefield, touching lives across the globe. To truly comprehend the full impact of war, we need to look closer at the ongoing conflicts in Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine. So let's delve deeper to uncover the unseen consequences of these wars. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has been an ongoing struggle since 2014, a bitter game of chess where nations are pawns and leaders, the players. In the thick of it all stands Russia, with strategic interests deeply woven into the fabric of this conflict. The war, initially sparked by Russia's annexation of Crimea, has since evolved into a complex web of political intrigue and power play. The involvement of Russia has far-reaching implications for Ukraine. The conflict has weakened Ukraine's economy, disrupted its societal fabric, and strained its resources. Yet Ukraine continues to stand resilient in the face of adversity, a testament to the spirit of its people. In the grand scheme of things, major powers like the United States have found themselves drawn into the conflict, albeit indirectly. Their strategic alliances and geopolitical interests make their role in this conflict inevitable. However, their involvement is marked by a delicate balance of power, a dance of diplomacy where every step could tip the scales. At the helm of Russia's strategic maneuvers stands President Vladimir Putin. In a surprising twist, Putin has expressed interest in mediating the Israel-Hamas conflict, a move that has left the world divided. While some see this as a genuine attempt to facilitate peace, others view it as a strategic ploy to divert attention from Ukraine and further Russia's interests. Indeed, Putin's actions seem to have a dual purpose. On one hand, prolonging the conflict could divert the attention and resources of Ukraine's Western allies, potentially weakening their commitment to Ukraine. On the other hand, instability in the Middle East could cause a spike in oil prices, benefiting Russia's economy. The war has not only devastated Ukraine, but also has global ramifications. It has reshaped alliances, stirred political tensions, and raised questions about the future of global security. The chessboard is set, the pieces are moving, and the world watches with bated breath as the game of power continues to unfold. Parallelly, the Israel-Palestine conflict has been a decades-long issue. The escalation of this war has seen various key events, with Hamas and Israel at the center of the struggle. Hamas, the Palestinian group, has been locked in a complex dance of violence with Israel, each side trying to achieve their strategic goals. For Israel, this involves maintaining its sovereignty and security, while Hamas seeks recognition and validation for the Palestinian cause. But the conflict isn't isolated. It's a web of alliances and implications, with major powers like China and Iran playing significant roles. China, despite its historical support for the Palestinian cause, has taken a unique stance. It has urged restraint, condemning acts that harm civilians without explicitly calling out Hamas. This approach is influenced by China's economic interests in the Middle East and its policy of non-interference in other nations' affairs. However, this stance has raised questions about China's credibility as a neutral party. On the other hand, Iran has maintained close ties with Hamas, providing it with both moral and material support. The Iranian leadership sees this conflict as an opportunity to project power in the Middle East and to challenge the dominance of Western powers. Then there's Russia, under the leadership of President Putin, expressing interest in playing the role of peacemaker. Yet many experts view this as a strategic move to divert attention from Russia's activities in Ukraine and to further its own strategic goals. The instability in the Middle East could benefit Russia by spiking oil prices, covering budget deficits, and funding arms production. So the Israel-Hamas conflict is far more than a regional dispute. It's a chessboard where global powers maneuver for strategic advantage. This conflict has reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and beyond. Behind these conflicts lies a tragic human cost. This phrase is not a mere collection of words, but a stark, harsh reality for millions of people affected by these wars. Let's delve into the numbers, although they can hardly encapsulate the depth of human suffering. Thousands of lives have been lost on all sides, soldiers and civilians alike. Every single one of these numbers represents a person with dreams, hopes, and loved ones. And each casualty leaves behind a ripple of grief and despair, affecting entire communities. The plight of refugees is another heart-wrenching facet of this crisis. Millions have been displaced, forced to flee their homes, leaving behind everything familiar to face an uncertain future. They embark on treacherous journeys, risking their lives in search of safety, only to often find themselves stranded in camps or foreign lands, struggling to meet even the most basic needs. The humanitarian crisis that has unfolded is staggering. Infrastructure has been devastated, leading to shortages of food, clean water, and healthcare. The very essentials of life are now a luxury for many. Disease and malnutrition are rampant, and the psychological trauma experienced, especially by children, is immeasurable. The scars of war are not just physical, they are also psychological and emotional, deeply etched in the hearts and minds of those affected. For many, the war might be over, but the battle for survival continues, a daily struggle against the odds. Every bullet fired, every missile launched, every life lost is a blow to our shared humanity. These conflicts have not just altered borders and power dynamics, they have transformed lives, often in irreparable ways. The cost of these wars is far greater than any strategic gain or political victory. It's a cost borne by the innocent, by ordinary people caught in the crossfire of power struggles. In the face of such devastation, it's easy to feel helpless. But let's not forget that behind every statistic, every news report, there are real people with real stories. It is their resilience, their courage, and their indomitable spirit that remind us of the power of hope and the possibility of change. These wars have left a scar on humanity that may never fully heal. Yet it is through acknowledging this cost, this human suffering, that we can begin to strive for peace, for justice, and for a world where no one has to pay such a devastating price. Warfare in the 21st century is not just about boots on the ground. It's a complex landscape where technology plays an increasingly pivotal role. Ballistic missiles and drones have become the new tools of warfare, adding a layer of distance between the combatants and the battlefield. These aren't just any tools, they're technologically advanced machines capable of carrying out strikes with precision that was unheard of just a few decades ago. Ballistic missiles can travel vast distances in a short amount of time, reaching their targets with deadly accuracy. And drones, once merely toys or tools for photography, have been transformed into unmanned aerial vehicles, capable of surveillance, reconnaissance, and even launching attacks. But what does this mean for warfare? Well, it's reshaping it. It brings a new dimension to conflicts, one where the physical presence of soldiers may not always be necessary. It allows for attacks to be conducted remotely, reducing the risk to military personnel. Yet, with these advancements come new challenges. The use of such technology raises ethical and legal questions about the nature of warfare. It blurs the line between combatant and non-combatant, making it harder to ensure the protection of civilians in conflict zones. Technology has changed the face of war, but the human cost remains unchanged. Wars also give rise to a host of other issues. Not only does the immediate destruction cause a shortage of food and water, but the ensuing instability disrupts local economies and trade, worsening the crisis. This scarcity is not confined to the war-torn regions, but extends globally, affecting the supply chains that we all rely on. Healthcare systems, already strained, buckle under the weight of war. Hospitals are destroyed, medical personnel are lost, and those who remain face an overwhelming influx of casualties. The health crisis is not limited to physical wounds, but extends to the mental trauma endured by those who have witnessed the horrors of war. Infrastructure, the backbone of any society, is left devastated. Roads, bridges, schools, and homes are reduced to rubble, leaving communities disconnected and delaying the delivery of critical aid. These wars have far-reaching consequences, affecting even those far from the conflict. As these conflicts continue, the future remains uncertain. The delicate balance of power, shifting alliances, and deep-seated tensions are like a powder keg waiting for a spark. There is a looming fear that these conflicts could escalate, potentially spiraling into a larger war, possibly even a third world war. The specter of such a colossal conflict is chilling, reminding us that the stakes are incredibly high. It's not just about the nations directly involved in these conflicts, but the ripple effects that would touch every corner of our interconnected world. In this complex chessboard of geopolitics, the need for peaceful resolutions and diplomacy cannot be overstated. It is a time for world leaders to rise above narrow interests, to actively seek dialogue and negotiation, to diffuse tensions and to work towards building a future where peace is more than just a fleeting dream. These conflicts are not just about territories or resources, they are about people, about humanity. As we stand on the precipice of potential global conflict, we must remember the cost of war and strive for peace.